Howdy everybody out there. Looks like we got Steve here. And we got Adam here. Hi guys, how y'all doing today? Yeah, I've got some coffee here. My brew, my Colombian. Yeah, I brought the package in green beans that I were roast. It's Costa Rican Don Mayo La Loma. That farm apparently. So yeah, pretty good coffee actually. Tasty. Cheers. Now what's up? Well, one thing I need to announce before I get any further, because I don't want to forget, is basically that next Wednesday, being that it's the day before Thanksgiving, I'll be busy getting stuff prepared and food and all that stuff. So I think probably won't have a show next Wednesday. So yeah, most of y'all will probably be busy doing all stuff too. So it works out for everybody if I just not don't have a show. Just plan on it. So anyway, today we're looking at Solus with Budgie desktop. Sounds good, doesn't it? So greetings everybody. And I'm going to, Peter won't be here today because he's just got home from 11-hour work day, he said. So he's not going to be able to be here, but he's gonna, he actually is a Solus Budgie, whatever you call it, expert, not expert, but just a user. He used it for a long time, so he's very familiar with it. Yeah, we got Solus Budgie Fortitude for Solus 4. It's number on it. Last time I did a review on Budgie, Solus Budgie, was back in May, I think it was. And on that review, I compared it with Deepin Desktop at the same time too, so I wasn't really like trying to make it. I mean, I didn't have a lot of time in there to devote to it exclusively, so now it gets its time apparently. But also, in July of this year, they also put out a new version of Solus for Fortitude 4.3. I guess it's 4.2 before, as far as I know. Adam says, I saw how cool everyone thought Steve was because he uses Linux. I figured I'd come back to it. Yeah, Adam. Yeah. Solus is a good distro too. I liked it. I've used it for a little while back in early part of my thing, because I did 2 reviews on it before the one I just mentioned. Also did an earlier review on it. Selling with Solus is what I called it, because it had a sell ship on it, and it's got, so I thought makes sense, selling with Solus. Also, you probably noticed I'm kind of grow a beard here. It's in the very early stages, so it looks scraggly, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Influence Adam. Everybody influence Adam right now. Boom. Yeah. And so I really like Solus as far as the distro goes. The only problems I have with some things that used to be not in their repositories. Like there's one, Celluloid is a video player I usually like to use, and it's basically not in there, so I had to flat hub it in. Also, Steve has his own show on Sundays. For anybody that happens to read this, I'm going to go Sunday morning. Check out Steve's very own Coffee Clash or Clash or however you pronounce that. I get it all mixed up. So, yeah. Yeah, you can figure out how to say it, I guess, however you do it. Basically means it's coffee shop or something like that, doesn't it? What does clash mean, Steve, exactly? I think I looked up one time and I forget exactly what it said. Coffee cloche. I almost went to Solus, but will fell in love with Pop. Pop, huh? Yeah, Pop, Gnome Pop. Before you fell in love with Peppermint, I assume. Yeah. So I guess we should get kicking on it, huh? Hello, Explorer. Blotch. Steve has spelled it out for us, so it's Kalach. But I think it's a foreign term, isn't it? Steve, some kind of a can't remember what I looked up at one time, forget what exactly it meant. Said it's something like that. Yeah, welcome Explorer. Yeah, we're gonna have a look at Solus Budgie. I mess up things sometimes. So we ought to get on it because we got a little work to do here. Now I'm gonna go down here. We're going to look at the web page a bit and talk about it a bit. This says Solus operating system is designed for home computing. Every tweak enables us to deliver a cohesive computing experience. So yeah. And that's computing experience. Learn more. You could learn more if you wanted to, but I think best experience is to experience it, right? So anyway, designed for everyone, it says. And yeah, it's from our flagship Bungie experience for modern devices, the more traditional Mate experience to lower-end devices. Solus aims to provide the best experience for your device. It's interesting because I put Bungie on my testing laptop, my testing desktop over here, and the when I put Bungie on the Solus Bungie over here on my testing desktop, and it actually had a very low memory usage for a Gnome system, about 520, 530 megabytes out of a 10 gigs, at least on 15 gigs on here. Pretty good, actually. I was surprised because most Gnome desktops like Pop! OS and stuff like that use at least a gig or more. 1.3 has usually been what I've experienced most of the time on that part. Yeah, social gathering for coffee and conversation. Yeah, that's what it means, cloche. So anyway, yeah, Solus is, but Mate is also a very low end thing, not quite as low. I mean, it's about as low as XSC, I guess. We only have an XSC version of Solus, so I guess Mate is their low end version. Mate, as I remember from my desktop comparisons and stuff, was pretty good desktop entry too, but I was used to Cinnamon, and I don't have any low end computers except for one, my wife's. So I might try Solus Mate on it or some point. Right now I put a Debian on it, just flat Debian, vanilla, as they say in Great Britain and stuff, vanilla Debian. So yeah, I installed it on there and with a Cinnamon desktop, and it seemed to be working pretty good for her so far. She hasn't used it a whole lot yet. Her school begins. She's going to school in the 29th of this month, I believe. So when she starts using it for school, we'll find out how good it actually works for her. So it's kind of my It's a laptop I've had for like about 15 years or something like that. So it's an old laptop. Not a lot of power to punch, but it might be enough for what she needs it for at least. So anyway, Solus might be an option for that if Debian isn't working for her very good. Let's see. Yeah. So let's get into Solus here. Basically, I downloaded. Let's go to download section so you can see what it does. It's easy to navigate website, that's for sure. Solus Budgie. Feature-rich, luxurious desktop using the most modern technologies. Yeah, that's one I downloaded. And it seems to work pretty good on most machines I've tried it on so far, which has been one. So then I could download the Solus Gnome, a contemporary desktop experience. Like all the little quirky things they say about their desktops. And then they also got a Mate version, a Plasma version. A traditional desktop for advanced users and older hardware, and a sophisticated desktop experience for tinkerers. You like to tinker with your desktop? Yeah. Now the interesting thing is Bungie actually uses Gnome 40 as its desktop environment. And yeah, so Gnome 40 is what Bungie uses, but it's about to be going to XF into. I'll talk about that more later on as I get. We'll have to wait for it to install, so I'll talk about that more as we get into it. But anyway, Gnome, you can install Gnome or the Gnome modified Gnome version of Solus Budgie, whichever you choose. Let's see now. So we'll go here. We got our Solus 4 ready to kick into gear here. Tell it to create, and we'll start installing this puppy. It's actually pretty easy to install overall. There's just one little problem I had with it. Not a big issue, but it was a little bit of an issue. Yeah, so it installs pretty easy. And it kicks into its live environment first. So it's going to go to its live environment. And go ahead and full screen it. There it goes. Ta-da! There's a Solus Budgie desktop. And it's got install OS over here. You can click on that and install it. So we'll do that first before we get into it. And I don't know if this is gonna. There it goes. English, United States. The thing this didn't have I had a problem with, not really a big problem, but just a little issue, is that it couldn't locate me. Like a lot of them will automatically know I'm in the United States. It says find my location automatically, but it still doesn't do it. So, yeah. It says it'll speed things up. English, well, maybe it's going to do it this time. It figures when I told it said it wasn't going to do it, it does it. On this other desktop I put it on over here, I had problems with that, so it didn't have the issues. English US, yep. Here's where it doesn't locate where I'm at. The Mountain Time Zone. Boise. Remember? And yeah, so this is the hard drive that's going to put it on. Now this is a, excuse me, I need to get some water here in my throat. This is a hard drive for the virtual hard drive, so it's the only hard drive that it can put it to. Of course, if you have a hard drive, if you have other hard drives on your machine, then it could install it to those. But yeah, one of the practices I know some people do is if they have multiple hard drives on the machine, they'll take all the other ones off if it's easy to do, something like that. Take all the other ones off so they can install it. Yeah, so Steve says Solus Budgie is the only way to go with Solus, but that is just my opinion. Yeah. I don't know. I think first time I installed Solus, I installed the Kid Plasma version. I didn't have a Cinnamon version at the time. Cinnamon was my favorite desktop at the time, so. But yeah, Bungie it's come along. It's not too bad overall. Pretty good desktop entry. Let's see. So we're gonna install yeah. Go install that on this drive. Yes, that's what I want to do. Now here it gives you the option to use LVM in this new installation. Also, it has logical volume management, allows simpler resizing and alteration than creative partition. We're not going to worry about that now. It's just a virtual machine. I'm going to delete it shortly after we're finished, probably, or at some point. But then you can also encrypt it. If you click this, that should light up. Yeah, and then you can encrypt the new installation. So you have to have the LMB to encrypt it. I'm doing that for now, though. I'm just going to go to this. What name should this computer use on the network? We'll just give it Solus. Say Solus. Install a bootloader, yes. And we're going to install it on the same disk, yes. That's correct. And username. I'm going to pick Rick. Real name, Rick. I'll just say not a Linux guy. The fun of it. Password. Yeah, you want to make yourself a good, strong, complicated password there. And you must not have typed something right there since it's not lit up. Maybe it'll activate anyway. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here apparently. Whenever it requires a longer password than that, I didn't think it did, but yeah, that's what it's requiring in what I put in wasn't sufficient enough for it. Now we add it. Now one of the things I do like about this installer, you click in, and you can add another user. If you want to add more than one user, you can add them in right now. As opposed to having to add the other users in after you boot up. Little thing, but it's nice. Then we have language selection. This is a summary, review options for installation. So it gives you all the details for user administration. Installation, and tell you what it's going to do with the hard drive. And what settings you chose. And so we're going to tell install. It's going to say OK. And then the installation begins. It's pretty fast and quick installation. I think it takes about 5-10 minutes, somewhere in that range. Or at least on the hard drive. Of course, that was a slower computer over there. So it may take more or less time here. We'll see. But anyway, one of the things I was going to talk about while I wait for this to install is we have a is a new situation with Gnome on Bungie. One of the reasons I was wanting to do this is because I want to establish a baseline for Bungie, because after they're going to be creating a new Bungie desktop environment, with Enlightenment, I think. Enlightenment or Enlighten, one of those things. There's some initials that go with that, but anyway, they're going to be installing that new environment on there. And one of the things they wanted to do was they wanted to get away from Gnome, because apparently Gnome is fighting with some other, like Pop! OS is going to redo theirs in Rust, and they're going to do theirs in the Enlightenment tools and that kind of thing. So, yeah, Bungie is going to get away from Gnome at some point. You know, it probably takes a while to get these things cooked and all that kind of stuff, so it takes a while for them to get there. But I wanted to establish a baseline where you still had it working on Gnome 40, as to kind of get an idea of what. So when we go to review it, when they finally come out with their E8 Enlightenment desktop, we're going to find out how it differs from what they had before. So I wanted to get this review in on that before they did that. All right. So it's still installing, but it's almost done, it looks like, or it's getting close. Still copying files over, I think, though, so it still has to go through the install process of installing everything, but yeah, it does in 2 parts. And thus Solus Budgie. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video, was to get a baseline view of it and that kind of thing. Moving live configuration as we speak, as you can see, and we'll find out what it does later on. I think it's going to install all the stuff, just copy it over, I think. I'm not sure. So usually moving live configuration, one of the last things that's done on these things. I'm not sure exactly what installer this is, if it's Bungie's own installer or what. It's now running some program that's going to probably start the installation after this or something like that. We'll find out. Configuring bootloader, that's one of the last things usually done. So maybe it is almost done. Maybe it's installed stuff all the time. Hey. Now exit the installer, restart, then remove the installer media and start the operating system. Alright, so now we just hit restart now, and we should boot up in our new Bungie environment. Now that wasn't hard, was it? Nay, nay, nay. Okay, Solus Fortitude. Now one of the things we're going to encounter when we get into this, I think, is that yeah, the screen leaves blank parts over here. This is a virtual box's problematic issue, not when you install it on your regular computer, it usually installs with the right resolution. For some reason it doesn't pick it up in here. And we have liftoff. Yeah. One thing I have to worry about virtual machines is connecting up to your Wi-Fi, stuff like that. Even though it says Wi-Fi computer, it's connected to Wi-Fi. Virtual machines assume it's an Ethernet connection. What it shows down here, I think. You click on this. Wired connection 1, yeah. But it says up here, update at your earliest convenience to ensure ... or basically ensure system updates have been applied and that kind of thing. which normally I would do, right? That'd be the next step I'd do. I'd turn Power Manager off. So, yeah, you do that by going Power. And it takes you to here. There's one blank screen after 5 minutes. Say never for me. I like all that blanking business. And then I need to turn screensaver, I think. Maybe not. I think I have to worry about that part of it. And similar how I always had to disable screensaver on Katie Plasma. I always had to disable the lock screen. So, in addition to Power Manager's thing. Anyway, that's all I have to do in Bungie. That's not too bad, is it? Yeah, or if you want to adjust it to a longer time for it to stay awake or something like that, cool. Now, Bungie. Now, there are a couple of things that I had issues with Bungie. Now, one of the things Peter is here, what he told me one time is that he likes Bungie because it stays out of his way. I kind of got to thinking about that. I was wondering, what does that exactly mean, stay out of your way? I mean, what got in the way in other desktops, I wondered. Maybe some of y'all can answer that, but out there, but I'm kind of curious what exactly got in the way of his work environment. And I've heard people say it before about various desktop stuff. Well, it just gets out of the way. Like, and I've heard that about Elementary and Pop OS and stuff like that. So, yeah. Any new comments up here? No. Everybody just listen. Check now. Let me ramble on. That's good, I guess. Ramble I need to, apparently. Yeah. So, let's see. So we ought to look at this desktop. Now, the one thing that I have a beef about this Bungie desktop environment, small beef, but it's beef nonetheless for me. They seem to want to hide. I don't know if this on all the desktop entries they put out, but they want to hide the terminal from you. You look down here, there's no terminal. And yeah, where it is in its utilities pop down here, you have to click on it. And there it is. But there's no shortcut. Yeah, there's no shortcut on there. Yeah. Or anything. It's like if you go to displays, let's see, what am I thinking here? Settings. And you go down to default applications. There's no terminals not listed. Most distros and stuff list terminal. I know this is a Gnome thing. It's not specifically Bungie. It's a Gnome issue that they don't have as terminal lists and default applications. One reason I don't care for Gnome as much either. Not that alone would cause me to say I don't want Gnome. No, but yeah, I would if I was them. I'd put that in there. Just because it's usually one of the critical applications most people tend to use, unless they're, I guess the whole idea behind it, they're trying to make a fully graphical environment for users, so they don't, because the terminal real obvious spots and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, you can access your keyboard shortcuts by going to keyboard here, customize shortcuts. It pops up here, and here's launchers. See, there's no launcher for your terminal, which is the opposite of what most distros or desktop environments do. So it's kind of weird in a way. Sort of weird. So the only thing you do is you have to find out what the name of the program is that it is that. It is the terminal. Then you have to then you have to then you have to put a customize you have to customize the go here to customize shortcuts down here. You have to plug it in. Now I happen to know what it is because I looked it up, but the way I had to look it up was pretty obscure. I couldn't figure out. Couldn't right click on the menu, that kind of thing. There may be an easier way to do it, but how I did it was I went into terminal, went to the user slash user usr slash share slash applications directory, so I could look at the Gnome desktop terminal, Gnome terminal desktop. And then there I scanned down until I found the actual thing. So if I wanted to add a shortcut to this, which is pretty easy to do, you have to know what the name of the terminal is exactly. Which is gnome-terminal is the command you want to enter in for that. Just in case you decide to use this set shortcut in there. One I like to use is super return. And you add that in. There it is, super plus return. Now if I want to open up a terminal, hit that combination, and it should pop up eventually. Maybe I have to close out of this first for it to take that out, make that happen. Well, maybe not. And I just noticed that this virtual machine will automatically put the right resolution in here. I don't know exactly when that happened, but must have figured it out itself. Yay. Yay. Bungie for doing that. Most of them don't do that. There's a positive thing. So, yeah. What I had to figure out was I had to nano into that file, the GNOME desktop file, in that directory I gave you. Then I'll scan down until I found the executable prompt, execute command, and then it said GNOME terminal. But I must have spelled it wrong or something because I don't think it's working. Go back and check that real quick. I'm pretty sure I know that was right. Oh, I got two eyes in terminal. That's what the problem is. Duh. Okay. Now it works. Yay. Your little Solus terminal up there. Yeah, that's the only beef I had with the Bungie desktop at this point was it took a while to figure out how to get the terminal up there. But otherwise, it works pretty good once you figure that part out. So, yeah. Now you have a. Oh, what happened there? Not sure what happened there. Must have killed it or something. Did a Linus Tech Tip problem. No, I don't do any install to try to install anything, so it didn't mess with anything. I'm not sure why it keeled over. I'll figure this out here in a second, Hope. Well, oh, now it's rebooting. Okie dokie. Apparently something happened where I caused it to reboot. Weird. Of course, I didn't have this problem before, so maybe it's just a virtual machine issue, probably. And there's goes back. What I was going to show you is the programs it has in here that automatically put in. They have accessories, files, and text editors. The only thing they have in there. Here's just one of the bigger lists of stuff. They throw everything in there pretty much. Bungie files, text editor. Most of these are graphics. It's Nautilus files and the GX file, G editor, I think. Gedit it's called or something like that. Graphics. Sound image viewer and LibreOffice Draw. Not much there unless you want to do any graphic stuff. You have to install it yourself. Internet. They put Firefox and Thunderbird and Hex chat in there. Office. They have Calendar, LibreOffice, LibreOffice Calc, LibreOffice Impress, LibreOffice Writer. Pretty standard, pretty good selection. And other, they have onboard settings, printer settings, and settings. A lot of settings in other. Sound and video. They have Gnome MPV, Rhythm Box Music Player. Which Rhythm Box okay, I guess I could use if I had to, but I kind of like using MPD and Cantata myself personally. It's my personal preferences. System settings. This is one that has all the stuff in it. All the application, background, Bluetooth, color. It's like your system settings all in one. Oops. All in one situation. So it takes the date and time if you want to adjust that. Which, strangely enough, I had to on the computer over here that I installed on Tesla. I had to adjust time and set it for like July of sometime in July. So it's kind of weird, but at least I was able to fix it. So far, it still says the right time now. It was like an hour off, but had the right mountain time and all that kind of stuff in there. But at any rate, system settings. So this is like a list of all system settings. If you want to go directly to them instead of going to system settings and going to it or whatever. So it's a more direct route to the system settings. System tools is Bungie desktop settings and gparted partition editor. Universal access has onboard on it, and the utilities has all the rest of the goodies on it. Which it has advanced network configuration, archive manager, calculator, disk usage analyzer, document viewer, help, passwords and keys, screenshot, system monitor, and of course the all-knowing terminal. Terminal. Excuse me while I blow my nose there a bit. So anyway, there's the application you have. Now if you want to go background, you can do it two ways. You can either go through system settings and go to backgrounds, or you can go to system settings and go to backgrounds that way, Or you can go through here. Let's look at Bungie desktop settings real quick. See what it's got. You can see your styles here. Widgets, you can style of your widgets, all that kind of stuff, icons, cursors, notification position. We have it set for top right here, but we can switch it to bottom right if we want to, or bottom left or bottom right, or top left, whatever we want to do. So we'll switch there to see if the next notification pops up down there. You have your dark theme, you also have your light theme, which didn't switch anything. Probably have to like use Gnome and it takes it automatic. Didn't seem to switch anything, did it? Interesting. Animations. Then you have your desktop, which has all these files you can put in there. Right now it's got everything on there. Fonts. You got those fonts. So you can select for different things. Window title, documents, interface, monospace, text scaling, hinting, and anti-aliasing. Control those features. Raven is its notification function, if I remember right. So you can set Raven's positions. Notice the calendar apparently. So yeah, you got all those controls for it. And here's your windows. You see your new windows on the screen, or they pop wherever they pop up, or I guess otherwise. You can attach modal dialogues to windows, which we do have them set there. Button layout, right, standard. What option you have your left? The right is standard, and you have usually like if you're coming from Apple, you say I want to have a on the left. That's where I like them. That's where I'm used to being, and you can do that. New windows on screen. Disable night light mode when windows are full screen. Pause notification when windows full screen. Automatic tiling. Yeah, so what happens is automatic tiling is on, and it means it'll automatically tile things when you drag the window to the top of the screen or the far corners. So in other words, if I go up here, then it tiles the whole thing. Suppose if I had another window, like say I wanted to bring up a copy of my this, and I wanted to tile it with this window, then I do that. So it's kind of a sort of an automatic tiling, but it's not really automatic on. It's not like a dynamic tiling window manager, like Awesome is, like what I have on my computer here. But it's boy. Yeah. So that's how it works. Maybe window focus change on mouse center and leave. Table window. Show windows and tab switcher. So as if you had multiple windows open and you turn that on, you can see all windows in your tab switcher as opposed to just the two or something like that. You switch, shows what you're switching to. I'm going to click that on to see in case we run into it or what happens with it. Okay, so that's the settings. Now we're going to go here, go to backgrounds. See what they got options they have. They have some pretty good options, not any that I care for that much. I mean, some of them are decently good, I can use them. And ones I like best, like scenery like this. Or is that a fishing? No, it's just island. There's people fishing or some over there. So we got this stuff here. Kitten. This is a crab. Kind of weird looking. Bicycles. Very scenic look pictures. No space pictures to speak of. But I could add some pictures. If I had pictures to add, I could add them right there. Click that, and then it brings up your Nautilus. Default Nautilus. File Manager. You can go to Pictures. And you choose what picture you wanted. Since I don't have a picture, I need to cancel, so cancel buttons over there. And so anyway, I personally think that this picture here, the default one's kind of ugly looking. Myself, I wouldn't probably stick with this at all. I guess you're trying to look a different version of Windows 11 or something, I don't know. Anyway, this is a nice picture. What I have on this laptop, not laptop, but my desktop over here, my test desktop, is this picture here. So leave it there and see what you think. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Everybody's watching still. Time for another drink of coffee. Let's see. Now, time to look at Software Manager, which I have down here. It's down here. You can also locate it in the menu there on your launcher. So we launch it here. We'll see what we got. Now, how do I know there's no celluloid and Solus? Because I checked on both the repos on the terminal and I checked here. You can go to search. Celluloid. It says no results found. That's why I had to go to Flatpaks and install it. I don't know if Flatpaks is installed out of the box because I installed it. Yeah, I want to check something real quick on this because I think which yeah, Flatpak is already installed on Solus, so it has Flatpaks installed on it. One thing you probably need to set the add the Flatpak in to that. You have to use sudo command Flatpak add. I forget what the rest of it is. Add dash some. I don't remember what that. And then after add dash, you put in the all a bunch of other stuff. I have it in my installation. So anyway, you paste all that, copy that. The easiest thing is to go on the web, find out what the command is, paste it in. Basically, where you have to first you have to link up your Flatpak with the Flatpak Hub repo site. Once you've done that, then you install Flatpaks. Till then, you're just out of luck. I think let's see if it's already maybe it comes already linked with it. Flatpak. Oh, Flat Hub. So Yeah, it says no matches. No more rest pound similar to flat hub. So yeah, you need to set up flat hub on it first before you do that. You have to add the repository to it. You see that, then you install things like celluloid and stuff like that. I'm gonna go over here to my desktop and see what the command was for that, because I did it here just earlier. There it is. Sudo flatpak remote add. That's why I can figure that. Sudo flatpak. The things I'm going to do on this real quick, I'm going to increase size of this font so we can see this easier. And I'm terminal free the profiles. The name. Custom font. Oh great, I did it again. Apparently Solus isn't very happy with Gnome boxes. Virtual. It seems to have a problem with it running on it, so there you go. Anyway, I was going to install the run the Flatpak, because I hate to just say go look it up yourself, but you can look it up yourself pretty easy. Not too hard. It's sudo flatpak remote dash add dot dash dash if dash not dash exist flathub, and then you have to type in the website, which is https colon backslash backslash forward slash excuse me flathub.org slash repo slash flathub.flatpak repo. It's a lot to remember. I'll throw in, that's why it's easier just to go to the website, look it up and find it. Some of this thing's going to reboot on me at some point again like it did before. So anything I did last time is just something apparently it has problems. The joys of computers, huh? Yeah. Might try and see if I can find a different virtual environment to unboxes, maybe Vert Manager or something like that. Because I don't want to, for some reason I can only install, Gnomebox on here because if I install VirtualBox, it has a issue or problem with, it wants to have my kernel signed, which I don't look to do that, but I can figure out how to do that exactly. So it looks like it's going to be getting too much technical stuff for me to do manually. So I figure I'll just install Gnome boxes. That's why I always use Gnome boxes, because I can't use VirtualBox on here. So I'm not sure what's conflicting with VirtualBox and or Gnome boxes and Solus Budgie, but something is apparently. Using 5.13.1 kernel. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Let's see what else we can get to while we're here. At least to save my desktop environment. Save oh look, put the bottom down the bottom right like we said it was appearing up here. Now they're down the bottom right. So that's pretty cool. That part works. At least we know that works, huh? And let's see. Yeah, it seems like whenever I start getting into the settings and stuff is when it has problems. Let's see if we can do that again. So, oh yeah, I was going to change the profile of the terminal. That's right. It is becoming bigger. I must have increased it a little bit before it killed out on me. Custom. Ready to do they are here. Increase to 15. Select. Alright, usually I'll change the background color too, but I'm not gonna worry about it now. It's lucky. Do a flat pack. Remote. And if flat hub. Or repo. Flat hub. Flat pack repo. It's a lot of work, isn't it? And then installs it. And just use that. Now if you put the other thing where you install that, it'll come up with something. Looking for matches. It finds one. Celluloid. Stable and remote. Say yep. It says it's gonna install some other stuff for runtime for it to work. Say yep. And he's gonna make a change the system and I say yep. And then goes process installing the system on there. For long I have celluloid, that's how you do that. But anyway, yeah. Hey, you can install certain packages on the repos. You can get them on Flatpak. You also use app images if you have those. It does have OBS on it. It does have a lot of programs on it actually. How you can install Brave through the Software Center. That kind of thing. That's good too. Or other, I'm sure there's other browsers you can put on here as well. Matter of fact, it'd be cool to look through and see what browsers they have in the Software Center that you can install. Anyway, while that clicks on that and we'll go over here. Hopefully this won't goof it up. We pray it won't cause it to go another conniption fit. And we have, let's do a search on browsers, see what we find on here. Yeah, there's a Qt browser, which I've used before. There's a DB browser for SQLite, obviously a database browser. It's a jukebox larger selection music browser, newsfeeder, Brave browser, Chrome Gnome Shell, Gnome Shell integration for Chrome. Interesting. Dev help, Falcon, Firefox, which of course comes pre-installed, so you don't have to worry about that one. And that appears Haskell Open Browser Developer. Interesting. A lot of these are like dependencies that be installed and stuff. Text web browser, Linux. Nautilus terminal. Terminal embedded in Nautilus. Nitrogen. Background erase Windows. Okay, it's some system thing. Onion share. Let's see this. Plasma browser integration. Let's see, there's going to be a Tor browser launcher. And a document browser. I'm not sure exactly what document browsers. I guess the system for maintaining your documents has a database or something. I don't know. Still cooking on it. Probably take a while for this to load up. Sorry, I had to play that. So anyway. Yeah, Brave browser and OBS. You can install OBS on this. You can also install a lot of other things. Got a pretty current version of OBS too, I think, on it. So, see what else can we look at it on here, we think. I'm going to minimize this so I don't have to stare at it all the time. I think that's about it. I've shown backgrounds, I've shown the menus, I've shown that. Yeah, file manager. Kind of looks at that a little bit, not in depth. Yeah, it's documents. Standard, pretty standard. Nautilus, I'm pretty sure. That's the standard Gnome Nautilus. Just called files. Files author. And basically it's based on Nautilus, I'm pretty sure. And let's see. That's the Gnome installation media that we had on there. So make it in the list view. Nautilus or files. Nautilus is not a bad program to use on this. My preference is my favorite is let's see. My favorite is Nemo, basically on Cinnamon. There's a bug with its kernel. It's booting just super slow. I haven't done updates yet. You're saying you update and then it'll get rid of that problem. Hi, Lamar. And see, come in, sorry. I haven't done any updates on this yet. No. Probably should before I started, but I could have started it, but then you wouldn't see the installation process. Updates would take a while too, so. Updated this machine over here, my testing desktop, I updated it. Could be what the problem is. So why it's having the glitches. But yeah, it's Nautilus. Emo's my favorite, as I was saying. Dolphin is good. For a low overhead browser, I like Thunar, which is used on XFCE a lot. So yeah, Lamar, I think basically I'll play around with this, suddenly it'll just have a glitch, it'll cut out on me. So let's see. This is almost done, so I can do that afterwards. You can see it do its update. I tend to do my updates. Yeah, this is the EO package manager for updates. Could be what's causing the glitches in the VirtualBox, as I didn't do an update on here. So therefore, it's, wonder if I can cut out of this. Yeah. And I just stopped it because I'm not going to play with celluloid now anyway. So we demonstrated how to do that part, so you knew that. And you go into it. So to do update, you do sudo yo package, and you type upgrade. And that should start the upgrade process. First, you update the repositories, and it'll tell you what it's got. Got more to tell you though in a minute. Yeah, extract. Just type yes, the way it goes. See if this call fixes our glitchy problem we're having with it cutting out on me and rebooting on me. It could be a VirtualBox thing, or it could be a problem with that needs to be updated. Thanks for mentioning that, Lamar. I just yeah. But anyways, it takes a while to process a thing. So what do y'all think of this Solus so far? Any comments? You use Solus, Lamar? I'd be interested to find out, what experience you have now. If Peter was here, he could tell us some of his experiences with Solus Budgie. He loves it, and it's his favorite one. He's used it for several years. 3 years, I think he said he used it. Been using it. And it's not a bad environment, but I might pick Mate or maybe KDE. I'm not sure. And one thing about KDE, which may be true about this as well, is that KDE, like Cinnamon, will expand whatever amount of space you have, memory you have. So like if you have 4 gigabytes of memory, it usually runs around 500-600 megs just out of the box, without anything else running. If you have more than that, then it's usually up, I think it's as big as 1.3 gigs of memory, sort of like Gnome does. So if you have like 10 or 16 gigs of memory, it'll run that well. Amate and XFC and those they usually run 500 or so, 600 megabytes of memory. But however, they are kind of like, they stay that same size no matter how big you have. Sort of like when I installed Solus Budgie on this other testing desktop over here. It came with 520 megabytes of memory out of 10 gigs, so it stays the same apparently. So I'm surprised at, because Gnome usually takes 1.3 gigs of memory no matter what you have installed memory-wise. But yeah, so I was surprised out of 10 gigs it only took 520 megs. Pretty good for a GNOME-based desktop, actually. So that's one positive for Bungie, is it seems to be light on its feet, pretty much. All they say, they give Mate as a option, because it's supposed to be light on its feet too. But yeah, so as this downloads and installs all these programs on here, my impressions of Solus Budgie are pretty good. Man, I don't like how they hide the terminal so much. Had to go in and find out where it was at, and then had to figure out what's the. I knew it was Gnome terminal. I couldn't remember if it was G terminal or Gnome dash terminal. It was Gnome dash terminal what it was though. And so I went to find out the command, then I had to go in and study and put in the shortcuts. Or I could have maybe figured out how to put it in the panel here, so I could just click on it if I wanted to. Wonder. Preferences, new window, format. No, launch instance. Close a window, no. No, intended to do. Trying to see if there's a way to pin it to this, but apparently you can't pin it to it. You probably have to see if you go here, utilities. Oh, it did it again. Oh, well, it's coming back to it real fast. Not good for it to kill off the middle of a upgrade, that's for sure. See if I'll pick up where it left off. We're gonna start over. Might as well at this point just not do it, finish it. Just gonna go through the whole thing. Nope. I wanna continue. So yeah, that's Solus Budgie. Yeah, if it hadn't had a problem, it'd continue on and finish the upgrade, that kind of thing. So that was different though, because it booted back. It didn't have to go through the reboot. It just shot me back login screen. So apparently something got fixed in the upgrade, but didn't quite finish it or something like that. Anyway, that's something to deal with. You just upgrade it when you first get it, you should be fine. There. Yeah. Anyway, I like Solus Budgie. I like Solus pretty much. Except for the occasional, I need this program and you can't find a repository type thing. It's not as much of an issue if you use flat packs or app images. But some people don't like to use those too. Some people like to use the only repository thing if they get free open source software that way better. So yeah. The Solus is good for desktop environments. You got Monte as we showed you earlier. And that's about the size of it, I guess. So that's Gnome. We'll see what it looks like when they put the Enlightenment tools to work on this and change it to Enlightenment instead of Gnome. First, I think they're going to stage it, I understand. They're going to go to a Gnome shell and adjust that and change that out. Then once it won't be fully gnomeless in the beginning, but they're going to do it in stages, I understand. So that at some point they'll move over to just using total alignment tools for it or something like that. Maybe confusing with Pop OS. I just watched a video on that too, so don't take my word for anything. Alright, so let's see. Anybody say anything else? Yeah, you kind of jumped in the middle of that more. It wasn't booting up, it was just taking its time rebooting. After I hit Control Alt Delete a couple times, seemed to kill over and reboot. But yeah, and then it just did that. So log out right there. Yeah, I forgot to show you the sidebar thing. You play some music, apps, devices. Apps for playing audio. There's your audio volume. Your little calendar up here. Applets, notifications. You get applets in here apparently. Fill it out with whatever you like. We'll go here, hit the power button. Shut this puppy down. Shut down. There we are. We're back to La La Land. The Land. Back to Awesome Window Manager. Yeah, it's my desktop here for y'all newbies. New people, not newbies, but new persons. Yeah, you may be newbies for all I know, you may not, but yeah. So this is my awesome desktop. Won't get into that too much since that's another show, but that's what it is. Convenient for showing things. Yeah, so you have Bungie, Gnome, Mate, and Plasma. The only options you have for Solus downloads for Solus. Bungie's not a bad system, actually. I can deal with Bungie once I found plugged in my stuff. I have to plug in any Gnome environment. I have to plug in terminal when it does. I think Pop! OS has a terminal already set to super return. I have to do that. I don't have to change that one. Most of the Gnome desktops I find are just like Gnome. They hide the terminal. They don't make it obvious how to get to it unless they have it in the panel or something like that. So I guess that's it for now. Unless somebody else has something they want to talk about or ask about or something. See, we've been going for about an hour and 17 minutes. So that's pretty good time. And that's probably all anybody want to watch about all this stuff anyway. So I guess we'll call it an evening for the day. I'll see y'all next. It'll be December 1st be our next episode. Then if we're going to skip next week, December 1st will be our next episode of Not a Lady Screwer Guy. Coffee is not a Lady Screwer Guy. We'll look at some other distro at that point or something like that. At any rate, yeah, I have a lot of actual videos that I made, edited videos that you can look at, or you can look at my past things. There's one other thing I was going to show y'all guys. I have a new book out for those of you who are into Christmas, that kind of thing. It's celebrating the fullness of Christmas. Timothy's couple is kind of a byline that I use on my religious stuff more. So yeah. If you're interested, it's on Amazon as well as other places, and you can get it as a Kindle or you can get it as a paperback. Actually, the Kindle version has been out since 2013, but I just created a paperback for it. So, yeah, if you're interested in the 12 Days of Christmas, there you go. You can check this out. Basically, it's devotionals on 12 Days of Christmas, and it starts on Christmas Day, so you can get it anytime before Christmas and use it if you have a mind to. It's up to you. Take or leave it. How novel. Ha 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 ha. Steve. Yeah, it's not actually novel. It's a pretty thin book, actually. So thin I can't even put anything on the binding here. So just a little book. It's got like about 60 pages, and it looks like that. I do have, like, I think I'm about to put out my 10th novel pretty soon. I have like 9 novels, two anthologies of short stories, one collection of poems that I have printed out, as well as some non-fiction books, that kind of thing. But yeah, I have another couple of devotionals that I want to put out on a paperback that have been out on ebook for a while that I want to get out eventually. So, how novel. I have to remember that. I have a new book out, how novel it is. Something like that, weird. Yeah. I guess that's it for now. Unless somebody else has something else to say or talk about, I think we'll call it a show. We'll see you next time on December 1st with another episode, another review of something. We're talking about something. I did want to talk about, before we go, I want to talk about Linus Tech Tips issue a bit. I mean, some people have discussed it, and I've read a lot of people about what happened to him. And knowing him, I'm not even sure that wasn't planned to some degree to do that. I mean, made it look like it's all spontaneous, which it may have been, I don't know. However, I know it's easy to plan those things out and say, look, you got this bug in here, we can display this bug, watch it crash on us and go, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. That kind of thing. So yeah. I think basically the problem is in the wording of the prompt, that he do what I'm telling you to do, whatever it said, that kind of thing. Instead of something more like, you're about to kill your system. You sure you want to do this, or something like that would have been more appropriate. Seen that there, he would have said, no, I don't want to do that, no. So yeah, the prompt, I think, was a big issue there. That's really not as much, well, it sort of is System 76's issue problem, sort of Linus's problem. They didn't read closer. It was an accident, or it wasn't just trying to demonstrate, hey, there's a glitch here, and make a big wave, splash about it. But you know, that's what YouTubers tend to want to do. Is it'd be pretty boring to sit there and watch, oh, everything went perfectly, everything's wonderful. So they had to make some drama out of it or something. Anyway, yeah, that's issues for you. You're right. I figure the best thing now that I've heard, they're coming out with a new Debian is coming out with a new switch. The default is that it won't break your system. You know, so I can't remember, is Debian or Pop! OS coming out? I know Pop! OS is coming out with its own solution where it just prevents you from breaking your system unless you have a certain file in place or something. But it's kind of hackish the way they did it. And yeah, so, but I think Debian's going to put a command in there that'll update their man pages when it happens, uh, something like break my system anyway type thing. Something like that. Anyway, they're going to do that, and then it won't break your system unless you have that in the command line and saying you intend to break it. Because sometimes you got to uninstall certain things would normally break somebody's system, like System D or something like that. You want to install something different, like different init system. So, or you want to go the other way. You want to like install grub boot. You want to take out grub bootloader and install System D's bootloader. That's another issue. So there's certain people that want to do that kind of thing, and they do. Most people just it boots, it works, yay! That kind of thing. So, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I think it'd be a simple solution would have been just make a prompt. I agree with this one guy I watched, Brody, I think his name was, who said they just need to have the prompt say something like, warning, where the prompt you have to type in, yes, I want to break my system. Hit enter. then you know what you're doing. Prompt they have was kind of like a little bit nebulous, a little bit like, oh, really? Matter of fact, I thought it was some weird thing. What? Never heard of yes, do what I tell you to do anyway, or something like that, or whatever it said. Weird how that came out. So that's what I think about that. That would be the easy solution. Of course, we can have more complicated solutions to fix it, but it'll be fixed. That's the important thing. Anything Linus pointed out some there was an issue to keep some newbie from killing his system. So that's a good thing in that sense. So anyways, so see you next time. By December 1st, as I said, the next episode will skip next week. And until next time, may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.